Good afternoon. We're here on a Saturday. I guess it was supposed to be morning, but it ended up being an afternoon video. Hope you're having a great Saturday. I've entitled this live video, A Needle in a Haystack. And I looked up in the dictionary what would be considered a needle in a haystack. And the dictionary said, a needle in a haystack is something that is impossible or extremely difficult to find, especially because the area you have to search is too large. Well, back in July of 2015, my family and I experienced a needle in a haystack experience. We went on a family vacation to Florida and we rented a beach house. Anyway, we had lost keys out in the Atlantic Ocean. I think you'll agree that losing keys in the ocean is probably a little bit more difficult than finding a needle in a haystack. So anyway, we were out on the beach, and my father and my son were out probably a good 100 feet out in the ocean, and they were playing on a little inner tube, and it's probably waist deep. And they were playing for a good little while. And then all of a sudden, as you know, in Florida, it starts to get a little warm. We're like, let's go back into the house. Let's take a break and have lunch. So we left our chairs and our canopy out on the beach, and we went back to the house, had lunch, and was relaxing. And then my father said, well, I'm just going to take a shower. I'm not going to go back out to the beach. And he noticed, oh my goodness, I've lost my keys. So he started looking in the house. It was a two-story beach house. We started looking everywhere. We tore that place apart. And finally, my mom, I think it was my mother, said, let's pray about it. They prayed. They went through the garbage. They took piece by piece out of the garbage, no keys. I mean, we had lost 2 sets of keys. The keys, this is one set. This is like the set of keys that my father lost. It's just like his because we have the same type of car. It's a Toyota RAV4. So it had a key, and then it had a house key on it, and then 2 little tags. I mean, these aren't the ones my father had. He doesn't have pets, but it was similar. Okay, so this set was lost, okay? And then we had another set that was lost. This was, just a little plastic key, a little keychain here, and it was for the rental house. It was just a key to the rental house. So 2 sets of keys. They were separate, and they were both lost. Anyway, we tore that house apart. We couldn't find it at all. After my father said, let's pray. We all prayed. We walked out to the beach. And you have to understand, this is 4 hours after the keys were lost. Now, what are the odds of finding keys that were lost in the middle of the ocean? Okay, granted, it's not the middle of the ocean. It's probably 100 feet out. 100 feet out, keys lost. What are the odds of finding them? So we combed the beach. We looked in the sand. We looked by our chairs. No keys. So I think my father, he wasn't out yet. So myself, my 2 nieces, my mother, my sister, we were combing that beach. We didn't find the keys in the sand. My niece was probably about 50 feet ahead of me. And she said, all of a sudden, she looked down, as the wave was coming in, and she saw something sparkle. She thought to herself, no, that can't be the keys. And as the wave started to pull it back out to sea, she reached down and snatched it up. And by gosh, she got the first set of keys right here. This is, like I said, this is my set, but it's just like my father's. Now, what are the odds of that happening? Timing. God set that timing up. How could it be possible that you could lose the keys 100 feet out in the ocean, come back 4 hours later, and they weren't just sitting on the beach, mind you. They weren't sitting in the water. The wave washed it up right in front of my niece. She reached down, snatched it up, and grabbed it, okay? So, wow. She ran and she gave the keys to me, and I ran up. I called my dad. I said, hey, we found your keys. He was coming down to the beach, and he told me, you know what? I told God, I said, God, if that first set is found, which it was, that's a miracle. But if that second set is found, that is a true miracle. Second set, okay? So my other niece, Amber, she was with the neighbor. They saw us all look. They knew we had lost something. They saw us all combing the beach, looking and looking. What's going on? What have you lost? So they, Amber enlisted the neighbors to help find the keys. So, they're looking. All of a sudden, the neighbor's like, well, what does a key look like? And so my niece, she had another copy of the key to the house. So she says, she pulls it out of her pocket. She goes, it looks like this. She holds it up, looks like this, you know. And so he says, he reaches down, they're in about knee-deep water. He goes, is this it? He pulls it up. Now keep in mind, these keys were lost at the same time. You know, they were in my dad's swim shorts, obviously. And, but they were found different places. My niece was probably, I don't know, she was a good ways down from where they were lost when they washed up right at her feet. And then the other set was found at a different place as well. So I was just in awe. I knew it was a miracle. I remember having tears in my eyes, you know, saying, this is a miracle. This was a miracle. How could we lose 2 sets of keys, 4 hours later go out, and they were found at different places. And the beautiful thing about it was, too, is you think, well, maybe they were just floating. No, they weren't floating, because my dad's key, as you can see, this little key fob, it can come apart. And my dad took it apart, and inside the key was sand and water. So it had been, dragging along the bottom of the ocean for 4 hours. You know, when it washed up on shore, and my niece grabbed it right before it went out to sea. So we knew it was a miracle. 2 keys were lost and 2 keys were found. So I want to tell you, you know, life is hard. You know, everyone has issues. Everyone, whether you're going through a serious health issue, whether you have financial issues, whether you have family issues, you know, you're not talking to your family or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're even struggling with addiction. Life is hard, but don't give up. Don't give up. You know, nothing is impossible with God. Let me tell you, nothing is impossible with God. And he still is performing miracles to this day. Believe me. The verse I want to read to you today is from Matthew. It's Matthew 19:26. And it says this. Jesus looked at them intently and said, humanly speaking, it is impossible. But with God, everything is possible. So I just want you to think about that. And if you're struggling and thinking things are impossible, just remember, we found 2 sets of keys in the Atlantic Ocean. Okay? So nothing is impossible with God. I hope you have a blessed Saturday, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.